This is Part 3, Episode 7. A tense atmosphere shrouded the outskirts of Thunder Granite Valley. It was as if all sound in this place had vanished at this moment, and the only thing left that proved the existence of the previous earth-shattering attack were countless pairs of shocked eyes. Did we win? Liu Yuan muttered while somewhat painfully massaged his neck as he looked at Ling Ji, whose eyes had nearly popped out. Ling Ji did not answer him. Right now, his mind had been temporarily blown away by that shocking sight. Moments later, he finally recovered his senses and slowly nodded his head as he gazed at Hua Yun's disheveled hair. Right now, waves were raging inside Ling Ji's heart. He had been slightly displeased by Lin Dong's attitude the night before. After all, in his opinion, Lin Dong's ability did not give him the qualifications to act this haughtily in front of their Lingyun Empire. However, he now finally understood why Lin Dong dared to act in such a manner. The reason why that fellow could completely disregard him was not due to arrogance, but rather, he truly possessed the qualifications to do so. Ling Ji, if he was the one facing the previous attack, he would suffer heavy injuries even if he could receive it. After all, he had not advanced to the Nirvana stage and was far from being able to compare to Hua Yun, someone who possessed the Nirvana golden body. Behind them, after a brief period of silence, the men from Yang City gradually began to regain their senses. Immediately, celebratory noises erupted, while several people shouted Lin Dong's name at the top of their lungs. One could imagine how excited they were in their hearts. Mo Ti sucked in a few deep breaths, trying to suppress the shock in his heart. As he turned to look at Tang Xian and the rest beside him, he saw that they had expressions of disbelief on their faces as well. "Ha ha, how is it? I have already told you guys that Lin Dong is no ordinary individual, yet you chose not to believe me." When they heard Mo Ti's hearty laugh, Tang Xian and Liu Xian felt somewhat guilty. At first, they hardly respected Lin Dong and even thought that this fellow was making use of them to reach Thunder Granite Valley. While a commotion swept across the men from Yang City, nearby, Hua Yun's expression fluctuated a little. This outcome had obviously vastly exceeded his expectations. As a genuine Nirvana stage practitioner, he was keenly aware of the gap between the peak manifestation stage and Nirvana stage. Since he had mastered the Nirvana golden body, typically speaking, even an all-out attack from a peak manifestation practitioner would hardly hurt him at all. Yet, he had miscalculated this time. After all, no one imagined that Lin Dong could actually execute such a powerful martial art. The blood in his body gently boiled, but very quickly, Hua Yun was able to forcefully suppress it before he tidied his disheveled hair. Besides some minor differences in his expression, it seems like he did not incur much injuries. This sight caused Lin Dong to secretly shake his head. A Nirvana stage practitioner was simply too powerful, and even his most powerful martial art, the complete fifth finger, could not achieve much besides making Hua Yun momentarily lose his footing. Hua Yun's eyes were tightly glued onto Lin Dong, lips slightly pursed while his expression a little icy. When they saw his appearance, the celebratory noises from the Yang City men gradually subsided, while all of them vigilantly stared at him in case he went back on his word. However, in response to Hua Yun's stare, Lin Dong merely chuckled before speaking. "Why? Are you going to forfeit the wager? I never expected that I, Hua Yun, would actually suffer a loss at your hands. Since we have already agreed on the wager, I, Hua Yun, naturally intend to keep my word." Hua Yun stared at Lin Dong. Moments later, he gave a slightly pained smile before he spread out his hands and said, "Our Bingxian Empire will not prevent your Yang City men from entering the Thunder Granite Valley." While he spoke, he glanced at Wu Mo, who was standing behind him. His words did not include the Great Wu Empire. Evidently, he was not planning to speak on their behalf. "I have also agreed to the previous wager. Therefore, if I go back on my word now, I will have no credibility in the future." Wu Mo gently smiled. Though he was shocked by the outcome, it was not a wise move to go back on his word now. Furthermore, he did not believe that the Yang City men, or even the astonishing Lin Dong, would cause him any problems even if they entered the Thunder Granite Valley. Based on Wu Mo's keen eyesight, he could naturally tell that previous attack was Lin Dong's most powerful one. However, this was merely enough to push back Hua Yun a little. Therefore, honestly speaking, the two of them were not on the same level. After all, the power of a Nirvana stage practitioner far exceeded the imagination of a manifestation stage practitioner. When they saw that the two great empires had no intentions of going back on their words, the men from Yang City gently heaved a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Lin Dong descended from mid-air, before Liu Yuan and Ling Ji immediately greeted him warmly. The arrogant attitude that they showed him previously had completely disappeared. After all, the strength that Lin Dong had displayed indicated that he was of equal standing with them. A distance away, Hua Yun and Wu Mo both descended from mid-air. After they glanced at one another, they bitterly laughed as they shook their heads. It seems like both of them had not expected this outcome. That kid's martial art is truly peculiar. The martial art he previously executed should be a high-grade manifestation martial art. However, what shocked me the most is that he was actually able to withstand that terrifying backlash, even though he is merely at the peak manifestation stage. Hua Yun glanced at Lin Dong, who was now being hailed as a hero by the men from Yang City, before he said. He has mastered a rather powerful physical enhancement martial art, which is somewhat similar to the Nirvana Golden Body. However, I must admit that he is quite strange. Previously, when the two of them crossed blows, Wu Mo had evidently been carefully studying Lin Dong. Obviously, he had detected the weird vibration emitted by the latter when he executed the lesser Nirvana Golden Body. It is going to be somewhat troublesome. However, in a real fight, he should stand no chance. Hua Yun softly exhaled, as if he wanted to exhale all his troubles from before. Agreed. Wu Mo did not have any objections to these words. This time around, Hua Yun had been tricked and had lost the wager. However, in a real fight, he was not going to go easy on Lin Dong. After all, the distance between Nirvana stage and manifestation stage cannot be breached by any simple martial arts alone. Let's head in first. This time around, let's combine forces. With regards to who shall own the mysterious ancient key, we can decide after we obtain it. Hua Yun turned around, before he looked at the misty thunder granite valley. Without further ado, he waved his hand before he took the lead and headed off. Behind him, the elite Xianbing Empire members quickly followed. Wu Mo gently nodded his head before he quickly followed behind. Two groups of men, one in front and one behind, charged into the Thunder Granite Valley and disappeared into the thick mist. Shall we enter too? When they saw the two great empires entering Thunder Granite Valley, a burning and expectant expression lit up in Liu Yuan and Ling Ji's eyes before they turned to look at Lin Dong. From their actions, it seems like they were actually asking him for permission. Lin Dong nodded his head before he called Mo Ling, Mo Ti and the rest to his side. Promptly, all the men from Yang City, who were now celebrating, flooded into the Thunder Granite Valley like a tidal wave, before they completely disappeared amidst the thick mist. Inside the deep mountains, Thunder Granite Valley was just like a beast with a bottomless appetite. Regardless of the number of visitors, they were all completely swallowed within. As the final figure disappeared into the misty Thunder Granite Valley, in mid-air, a beautiful and alluring figure suddenly appeared. Her beautiful eyes glanced curiously at the large crater on the ground, which was created after Lin Dong and Hua Yun crossed blows, before she softly smiled and said, "A peak manifestation practitioner is actually able to possess such strength. If that fellow advanced to the Nirvana stage, how powerful will he be? However, this is really shocking. I never expected to meet such a talented individual in this place." After her soft voice faded, the alluring figure gently stretched her back as her beautiful eyes glimmered. She stared at a nearby mountain peak, her lips gently trembling, before her figure flashed, and she directly headed into the Thunder Granite Valley. When the mysterious and alluring figure entered the Thunder Granite Valley, moments later, the air in the outskirts of the Thunder Granite Valley trembled, before several black figures suddenly flashed and appeared like phantoms. "That woman seems to have detected our presence." A black figure suddenly opened his mouth and asked. His voice was somewhat coarse and cold. "No need to bother. We must obtain the mysterious ancient key. That ancient treasure trove is no ordinary treasure trove. If we can obtain it, we will definitely stand out in the 100 Empire War." Amongst those black figures, a man casually said. "I never expected the Bing Xian Empire and Great Wu Empire to come as well. Those two fellows can be quite troublesome. Isn't it just two guys who have recently advanced to Nirvana stage? They hardly pose a threat to us. After all, in the eyes of our Devil Cliff Empire, those two empires are nothing at all." That particular black figure spoke again. Without further ado, he waved his hand before he transformed into a phantom-like figure that dashed into the mist. Behind him, the black figures quickly followed. After they entered the Thunder Granite Valley, the outskirts of the Thunder Granite Valley finally quietened down. However, an ice-cold sensation faintly lingered. One could imagine that as these factions entered, it would definitely not be peaceful, Thunder Granite Valley was considered as a rather unique place in the Thunder Granite mountain range. In the depths of the mountain range, mountain peaks crisscrossed and the topography was fairly complex. It was said that a long time ago, lightning had descended and forcefully ripped apart that mountain peak continuously, before it gradually formed into the Thunder Granite Valley today. Perhaps because of the lightning's descent, the entire Thunder Granite Valley was filled with an lightning aura. Numerous demonic beasts within the mountain valley mutated due to this. Not only could they come and go like the wind, they could also spit out thunderbolts. Compared to the demonic beasts outside, they were far more difficult to deal with. Thunder Granite Valley was fairly large, and even after the sudden influx of such a huge number of humans, it was still tremendously spacious. However, the thick mist that permeated the valley was an extremely major obstruction to one's sight. The originally peaceful Thunder Granite Valley was disrupted due to the sudden influx of a large group of uninvited guests. Meanwhile, demonic beast growls faintly echoed out all around the valley. In their opinion, this was their territory and those humans were intruders. Against intruders, these demonic beasts were never afraid to take action. Furthermore, various kinds of several spirit herbs grew within Thunder Granite Valley and even in the outer areas. Once the intruders entered, they did not hesitate to pick whatever they saw. It would be strange if these actions did not incur the wrath of the locals. Hence, soon after they entered the Thunder Granite Valley, chaos and confusion violently erupted from all around. It was more than likely that people had been attacked by demonic beasts. For a while, various disturbances and piercing screams sounded out, causing one to feel distraught with anxiety. Brother Lin Dong, the real treasure should be deep within Thunder Granite Valley. However, there are many demonic beasts along the way, and it is also filled with a poisonous mist. In fact, even a half-step to Nirvana stage practitioner must tread cautiously. Since we are on the same boat, how about we head there together first? Liu Yuan glanced at the smoky surroundings, before he turned and asked Lin Dong with a smile, seeking the latter's opinion. Sure. In response, Lin Dong did not object. The inner region of the Thunder Granite Valley was layered with danger, and if they temporarily allied themselves, it would be additional insurance for him. Furthermore, the Millennium Ice Empire and Great Crow Empire should have also directly rushed towards the inner region. Therefore, if he was late to the party, he may not even salvage any leftover soup. Let's go. Follow me. Lin Dong turned around before he addressed Mo Ling, Mo Ti and the rest. Right now, Lin Dong was considered as the leader of the group and even Mo Ti followed his instructions. Therefore, by bringing them along, it would also be helpful for him. After Lin Dong, Ling Ji and Liu Yuan formed a temporary alliance. Without further ado, they immediately headed towards the inner region of the Thunder Granite Valley. Following which, some of the astute young city men quickly followed behind. There were numerous intersecting stone paths within Thunder Granite Valley, and it looked just like a maze. Thankfully, Liu Yuan and the rest had gathered quite a bit of information on this place and immediately took charge, allowing Lin Dong to have a fairly relaxed journey. At the same time, the demonic beasts that occasionally lurched at them were killed by his companions even before they could reach him. Lin Dong and the rest hastened their footsteps as they headed for the inner region of Thunder Granite Valley. Meanwhile, Lin Dong also saw tracks and demonic beast corpses in front of him. They were likely left behind by the two high-rank empires. As they poured down the road at full speed, approximately 10 minutes later, a different scenery finally unfurled on the meandering stone path. It was a dense lightning barrier. Within the barrier, sparks continuously flickered and landed on the ground, causing crackling noises to erupt. Lin Dong felt a considerably formidable undulation from the lighting barrier. Immediately, his eyes turned a little more solemn. Even a half-stepped Nirvana stage practitioner would have to suffer in order to cross this lightning barrier. Brother Lin Dong, this is a protective barrier formed by thunder rocks after they have absorbed the lightning within Thunder Granite Valley, and it is extremely powerful. Typically speaking, the sky above Thunder Granite Valley is always filled with storm clouds. Under that weather, the strength of the lightning barrier will surge several times, and even a Nirvana stage practitioner will find it difficult to cross through. Thankfully, there will be a few days every month where the storm clouds will dissipate. Therefore, many people who hope to enter the inner region of the Thunder Granite Valley will take this opportunity to do so. Upon seeing Lin Dong's peculiar expression, as he stared at the lighting barrier, Liu Yuan smiled and explained. Oh? Lin Dong finally understood. Previously, he was still wondering why those high-rank empires did not come earlier, and instead chose to wait for today. It turns out it was because of the lightning barrier in Thunder Granite Valley. Brother Lin Dong, only half-step to Nirvana stage practitioners can cross this lightning barrier. I am afraid that the rest of you will have to wait behind. Mo Ti's eyes turned to Lin Dong, before he glanced at the Mo Ling trio and said, "It's all right." When he heard these words, Lin Dong smiled as he shook his head before he softly told Mo Ling and the rest, "Just stick behind me." All along, Mo Ling and the rest have been following him and they have often helped him out. Now that they have found a treasure trove, Lin Dong naturally did not want to exclude them. When they heard Lin Dong's words, Mo Ling and the rest were fairly touched as they promptly nodded their heads. "Let's go." Standing aside, Ling Ji, Liu Yuan and the rest have already made the necessary arrangements. They only brought along their half-step to Nirvana followers, before they cupped their fists and bowed at Lin Dong. Then, they immediately took off and headed into that lightning barrier filled with lightning sparks. After they barged through, cackling noises immediately erupted from within that lightning barrier, and it caused one's hair to stand. "Go." Lin Dong did not procrastinate as well. With a wave of his hand, he immediately stepped into the lightning barrier. Following which, with a flick of his mind, a stream of devouring force stealthily emerged before it completely enveloped a nervous Ling Ji and the rest. The devouring force was just like an invisible shield. When those savage lightning sparks touched the shield formed by the devouring force, they disappeared stealthily. After that lightning energy was devoured by the devouring force and refined by it, it gently coursed through Lin Dong's body before it was forcefully absorbed by Lin Dong. Previously, when he was training Great Sun Thunder Body, Lin Dong had absorbed lightning energy as well. Therefore, it was a simple feat for him to absorb it again, and it did not cause much problems for him. Thanks to the magical properties of the devouring force, this so-called lighting barrier, which was able to impede a half-step to Nirvana stage practitioner, was rendered completely useless. Therefore, when he saw Mo Ti and the rest nearby who were shivering, he involuntarily grinned in his heart. It did not take long for them to cross the lightning barrier. In merely a few minutes, Lin Dong had safely brought Mo Ling, Little Flame and the rest across. Following which, he turned to look at Mo Ti and the rest, whose hair were now standing due to the electricity, before he involuntarily grinned. "We have finally arrived." After Ling Ji and the rest passed through the lightning barrier, all of them heaved a deep sigh of relief. Then, their eyes stared fervently at the area behind the lightning barrier. In front of Lin Dong and the rest, was a gigantic inner valley. In the middle of that place, stood an extremely large stone temple. That stone temple was slightly damaged after the passage of the time. It seems like it should have existed since a long time ago. Evidently, this was Lin Dong and the rest's final destination. That so-called mysterious ancient key should also be within that large stone temple. "Ha ha, we have finally arrived. Everyone, the rewards that we shall obtain will rely on our own respective luck." As he stared fervently at the stone temple, Liu Yuan involuntarily laughed heartily. Then, he immediately took charge, before he commanded his men and headed into the stone temple. Right now, the door to the stone temple was already ajar. It was likely due to those two high-rank empires. In fact, there were even footsteps nearby. The interior of the stone temple was extremely huge. Several different corridors crisscrossed haphazardly before they extended to a deep and unknown place. After Ling Ji and the rest entered, they split up to look for treasures. For a while, it seems like all of them were truly engrossed. "Let's head this way." Lin Dong did not stay still for long. His eyes glanced at a crisscrossed corridor, while a glint flashed in his eyes. Then, he waved his hand before he headed off immediately. Standing behind him, Mo Ling and the two of them quickly followed behind. After a moment of hesitation, Mo Ti, Tang Xian, and Liu Xian quickly followed behind as well. It seems like in their opinion, it would be safer to follow behind Lin Dong. Lin Dong and the rest traveled along the corridor, while his eyes grew increasingly brighter. Faintly, there was even a tinge of excitement in his eyes. Right after they entered the stone temple, he could faintly sense his mental energy rage. Lin Dong had rarely came across such a scenario. However, he knew that his mental energy would only act in such a fashion after it detected a closely related heavenly soul object. Evidently, there is only one object that could tempt Lin Dong's mental energy. That was the heaven symbol spirit tree that he had been dreaming of. After several minutes, they finally stopped dashing. Then, a spacious stone chamber appeared in front of Lin Dong and the rest. This stone chamber was filled with a terrifying energy shockwave, while a potent medicinal smell continuously emerged. Evidently, this was a storage room used for various elixir pills. Meanwhile, Lin Dong's eyes swept across this spacious room before they finally stopped at the center of the room. At that spot, there was a small yellow tree. Looking at it from a distance away, its various branches seemed to form a mysterious heavenly symbol. Faintly, it seemed like it had the magical ability to communicate with the heavens. Heaven symbol spirit tree. When he saw this ancient tree that looked just like a symbol, Lin Dong's eyes instantly lit up. The rich fragrance of medicine greeted them, while the astonishing energy shockwave caused Mo Tai and the rest to be dumbstruck. Promptly, their breathing turned ragged as they stared at the stone chamber that was filled to the brim with elixirs. Lin Dong heaved a gentle sigh of relief before he slowly walked into the stone chamber. When he entered, he finally realized how large this stone chamber was. Though there were numerous elixirs scattered across the stone chamber, Lin Dong did not waste any attention on them. Instead, his eyes were glued to the nearby heaven symbol spirit tree as his pace suddenly quickened. Mo Ling and the rest followed behind Lin Dong. They had now also realized Lin Dong's target. Immediately, a tinge of awe flashed across their eyes. Even though they already knew that there was a heaven symbol spirit tree in Thunder Granite Valley, when the real deal appeared in front of them, their already prepared hearts were still disturbed. Ha ha, brother Lin Dong's luck is really good. When news of the heaven symbol spirit tree was leaked, no one knew if it was true. However, we never expected that we would encounter it barely after entering this place. Mo Tai smiled, a tinge of envy in his eyes. He was naturally aware of the scarcity of the heaven symbol spirit tree. However, he was no fool. If Lin Dong had performed ordinarily along the way, perhaps he might fight with him for this heaven symbol spirit tree. Thankfully, Lin Dong's previous 2 displays had left him completely in awe. Therefore, when he saw Lin Dong's unconcealed burning desire for this heaven symbol spirit tree, he naturally chose not to argue with him. Immediately, he turned around before he carefully kept some decent elixirs into his bag. If he sold these items outside, they would fetch a substantial amount of nirvana pills. Lin Dong's footsteps finally stopped in front of the heaven symbol spirit tree. Due to their close proximity, he could clearly see that there were fine patterns inscribed all over the branches of the heaven symbol spirit tree. These patterns looked just like the masterpiece of the heavens. They seemed natural yet magical, and gave off an intoxicating sensation. While Lin Dong carefully sized up the heaven symbol spirit tree, the burning expression in his eyes grew even hotter. Brother Lin Dong, if you want it, you should quickly keep it before anything happens. After Mo Tai took a dozen precious elixirs, he turned to observe Lin Dong's expression as he stared at the heaven symbol spirit tree, before smiling and reminded him. Lin Dong smiled, his eyes flickering. However, he did not immediately make a move. Hehe, do you think that a little dog or cat like you has the qualifications to enjoy such a marvelous object? The instant Lin Dong's eyes glimmered, a cold chuckle suddenly ricocheted across the spacious stone chamber. Who is it? The sudden voice immediately caused Mo Tai and the rest to be on guard. Immediately, all the yuan power in their body gushed out as they fearsomely shouted out. After Mo Tai and the rest shouted out, a black phantom-like figure darted across the air, before coming to a standstill in mid-air. He looked down upon Mo Tai and the rest as a disdainful expression flashed across his sinister face, before he sneered, on account of the fact that you guys have shown me the way, I shall spare you. Leave now. While he spoke, the black figure stomped his foot as a majestic aura gushed out, immediately causing Mo Tai and the rest's expression to change as they involuntarily cried out, Nirvana stage. Damn it, where did that fellow come from? To actually be another Nirvana stage practitioner. Mo Ling softly cursed from behind Lin Dong. Lin Dong slightly narrowed his eyes. However, he was not surprised that there were other empires besides the Bingxian Empire and Great Wu Empire that were attracted by the mysterious ancient key. There were definitely other factions lurking in the dark, and this man was likely one of them. The stern expressions on Mo Tai and the rest faded under the black figure's majestic aura. Their fists tightly clenched, but they could do nothing. After all, they were powerless in the face of a Nirvana stage practitioner. When he saw Mo Tai and the rest descend into silence, the black figure grinned pridefully. Following which, his figure flashed before he directly headed for the heaven symbol spirit tree, while the crowd watched on bitterly. Bastard! When they saw this sight, Mo Ling and the rest instantly turned tense. Meanwhile, Lin Dong's narrowed even further. However, while his eyes glimmered, Mo Tai's hand suddenly grabbed Lin Dong as he gently shook his head and softly said, "Forget about it, we can't beat that guy." Mo Tai was clearly aware that though Lin Dong was able to push back Hua Yun with a single powerful attack on the outskirts of Thunder Granite Valley, this does not indicate that he possessed the qualifications to fight against a Nirvana stage practitioner. There was no longer a so-called wager, hence, if he offended this mysterious Nirvana stage practitioner, he would probably meet his demise. "Don't worry." Lin Dong gently smiled before he tilted his head and watched the black figure, which was swooping towards the heaven symbol spirit tree, just like a giant condor. The black figure was extremely quick. In a blink of an eye, it had appeared above the heaven symbol spirit tree. Following which, his potent Yuan power directly transformed into a large Yuan power hand that swiped at the heaven symbol spirit tree. However, just as that giant Yuan power hand was about to grab the heaven symbol spirit tree, the originally silent heaven symbol spirit tree's branches abruptly swept out. At the same time, a verdant glow surfaced on the branches while a bloody smell faintly emerged. In fact, the lightly bloody smell caused even Lin Dong's expression to change a little. The black figure evidently did not expect that the heaven symbol spirit tree was actually able to attack someone. Immediately, his expression changed. Thankfully, the man was still a Nirvana stage practitioner. Therefore, his body wiggled in a peculiar manner, completely avoiding the branches. His palm was akin to a knife as it chopped off several heavenly symbol spirit tree branches with formidable power. However, this barbaric method did not accomplish much. Instead, it only further agitated the heaven symbol spirit tree. The broken branches squirmed as they quickly regenerated, seemingly filling the horizons as they rained down on the black figure. Mo Tai and the rest looked in shock at this scene. Evidently, they never expected that a tree could actually be this powerful. The heaven symbol spirit tree is no ordinary object, and it possessed some rudimentary intelligence. Furthermore, its branches give of a deadly poison, a poison known as the heaven symbol poison. In fact, even Nirvana stage practitioner will be endangered if he comes into contact with it. When he saw Mo Tai and the rest's stupefied expressions, Lin Dong gently smiled as he explained. It turns out that the reason he did not make a move previously was because he knew that this would happen. It was not so easy to obtain such a wonder. In fact, even a Nirvana stage practitioner might lose his life if he was negligent. "Shall we leave first?" Mo Tai asked from the side. One glance indicated that this mysterious Nirvana stage practitioner was no kind-hearted Buddha. Therefore, after he dealt with the heaven symbol spirit tree, the same fate would probably befall them. "Leave? How can we leave empty-handed after encountering such a treasure?" Lin Dong smiled while his eyes stared at the black figure that was being bogged down by countless branches. Promptly, his figure suddenly moved as he directly leapt forward. When he saw Lin Dong's action, Mo Tai's heart violently shuddered, while his entire body began to tremble. He never imagined Lin Dong would be so daring to actually compete with a Nirvana stage practitioner. "Kid, you dare." That black figure that was currently entangled by the heaven symbol spirit tree also noticed Lin Dong's actions. Immediately, a cold glint flashed across his eyes as he angrily shouted. However, Lin Dong merely chuckled in response to this threat. His feet executed the Supreme Purity Sky Wanderer steps as his body transformed into a wisp of green smoke, allowing him to dodge all of the heaven symbol spirit tree branches. His movements were very effortless, and he did not break a single branch. That was because he knew that the more he cut off, the more branches there would be. Therefore, if he chose to barbarically cut them down, he would eventually be drowned in those branches. At that time, once the heaven symbol poison attacked his body, even a Nirvana stage practitioner would end up in an extremely sorry state. His body deftly avoided the dancing branches. Following which, under the furious stare of the black figure, Lin Dong appeared next to the heaven symbol spirit tree trunk. His eyes focused on the center of the trunk. There, the tree veins had formed into an extremely peculiar symbol, which appeared to give off a fluorescent glow. It was the hub of the heaven symbol spirit tree, and all the peculiar energy in its body was concentrated in this symbol. As long as one took it away, one would have completely subdued the heaven symbol spirit tree. As he stared at that symbol formed from tree veins that was practically within reach, Lin Dong chuckled. Meanwhile, the heaven symbol spirit tree seemed to have detected his intentions, as a branch filled with heaven symbol poison instantly lashed out viciously at Lin Dong. However, Lin Dong chose to ignore the heaven symbol spirit tree's attack. Immediately, his hand formed a claw before he abruptly reached out. A formidable force gushed out, viciously grabbing at the flickering fluorescent symbol, forcibly ripping it away from the trunk. When the symbol disappeared, the heaven's symbol spirit tree began to decay at an alarming rate, while all its branches collapsed with a thud. Lin Dong held the tree symbol in his hand, before flipping his palm and keeping it into his chinkuan bag. Immediately, he felt a malicious killing intent behind him. "Kid, I will give you one chance. Surrender it and break one of your arms. Perhaps I may spare your life." The black figure hovered in mid-air, while his eyes were as eerie as a ghost as he unwaveringly stared at Lin Dong. Meanwhile, his words was filled with a rich killing intent that caused Mo Tai and the rest's faces to turn deathly pale. However, Lin Dong's following words caused their bodies to shiver as if they were in a cave of ice. Lin Dong's reply was very simple and consisted of only 4 words. However, they caused the black figure to be so outraged that his body could not help but tremble with anger. "You must be dreaming." When they saw the black figure reach the limits of his rage, Mo Tai knew that they could not longer reconcile with this Nirvana stage practitioner. This video will end here.